So let's pretend that it's March 2027, okay? Trump goes on TV. He announces Operation Iranian Freedom, a full-scale U.S. invasion of Iran, along with Israel, Saudi Arabia as its main partners, but the United Kingdom, UK will be involved, Australia will be involved, UAE will be involved, Poland will be involved. Okay, so you have many countries attacking Iran. And Trump goes on TV and explains to the American public why the United States is fighting this war. Okay, and this is what Trump says. First, he says that for the past year, there have been violent protests in Iran. You have religious protests, you have political protests, you have ethnic protests. The Iranian people are sick of the Ayatollah. They are sick of the dictatorship. They want democracy. They want freedom. And in response, the Revolutionary Guard are killing thousands of protesters. Iran is on the brink of civil war. Therefore, the United States has an obligation to protect the people of Iran. Okay? The people of Iran are praying for freedom and democracy, and the United States, the world's greatest democracy, must give them democracy. Okay? So the first reason is freedom and democracy. Second, U.S. intelligence, along with Israeli intelligence, have discovered that for the past 2 years, Iran has been working very, very hard on developing a nuclear bomb. In fact, Iran is only 1 month away from having 3 nuclear bombs, so that New York City, San Francisco, and Los Angeles could all be destroyed. Okay? So to prevent this, we must strike first to stop Iran's nuclear program. Okay? Third, Iranian proxies, the Houthis, Hezbollah, many groups have been disrupting shipping in the Middle East, in both the Red Sea and the Strait of Hormuz. 40% of the world's oil passes through that region, mainly to East Asia, China, Japan, South Korea. Our global prosperity is at stake. We must go to war to protect these shipping lanes and ensure that the oil goes to China, Japan, and South Korea so that they can continue their economic prosperity. So the United States, as the world hegemon, has a responsibility to protect global prosperity. Fourth, Iran has been launching attacks against our allies, Saudi Arabia and Israel. Hezbollah has been violently attacking Israel, killing dozens of Israelis, innocent Israelis. The Houthis have been attacking Saudi Arabia oil fields, damaging the economy. We have an obligation to protect our allies, our friends in the Middle East, okay? And the last reason is, we know for a fact that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps is a sponsor of terrorism. Last week, in a mall, there were gunmen who went and killed 107 people. Our intelligence says that it was most definitely an Iranian operation, okay? So for these 5 reasons, we have decided to invade Iran. But don't worry, this invasion will be successful because we have a lot of allies. The UK, Israel, Saudi Arabia, all friends will be part of this operation. Our special forces are already in the country looking for their air bases and their missiles. We can knock them out at the beginning of the war. Also, we have been in contact with Iranian opposition groups. They want to overthrow the regime. And when we help them, they will install democracy in the country. Our American military is the greatest in the world. In 1991, our military defeated Saddam Hussein in 100 hours. In 2003, our military defeated Saddam Hussein in only 3 weeks. To prove that we are the greatest in the world, we will defeat Iran in only 2 weeks. So do not worry. We will be strong in protecting democracy, freedom, and global prosperity. Okay? So that's what Donald Trump will say to the people of the United States. Okay? And of course, you're going to have large-scale protests throughout the country opposing this war. But most people in the country will support this war. Okay? All right. So after the speech, the operation is launched. And on TV. We'll watch this on TV and the internet together, on YouTube together, okay? And we'll be so impressed by the power of the US military. This is Iran. This is the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia. Israel is here. Red Sea is here. Iraq is here. Okay? So, in the Strait of Hormuz comes the USS Gerald R. Ford. It is a $13 billion super carrier. Okay? This thing is designed to destroy countries. It is now prowling the coast to ensure that shipping is safe. America establishes air supremacy very quickly, okay? Meaning that it has complete control over the skies. Nothing can move in the skies, America detection, okay? And then a massive invasion force is sent to Iran. 100 US troops land. Maybe 200,000 Saudi Arabia troops land, okay? Maybe you have 200,000 to 500,000 troops in Iran. And they are about to strike Tehran in the north, okay? So in the south, the United States and its allies have established a foothold. They have a huge presence in the country, and they're about to attack Tehran, okay? All right, do you understand what has happened? Okay, now I want to ask you this question. At this point, who has won the war? America has established air supremacy. It controls the skies. U.S. Navy controls the seas. You have 100,000 U.S. troops in country ready to strike Tehran. The war has been decided. Who has won the war? Okay, obviously this is a trick question. Obviously Iran has won the war. Why? Why? What's the problem with this plan? Okay, this is typical American doctrine. Shock. This is how they fight wars. But there's a problem with this plan. What is it? Why would the Iranians want this? Okay. Let's go back to traditional military doctrine. Okay? In traditional military doctrine, you have three principles, right? Mass forces, avoid encirclement, protect supply lines. Okay? These are three things you must absolutely obey if you are going to war. Okay? So using traditional military doctrine, explain to me why the United States has lost the war right now. Exactly. First of all, they're in circle, okay? Do you know why? Because Iran are all mountains. It's a fortress, okay? Meaning that to get these troops into the country, you have to airdrop them, right? But guys, once you're in the country, you can't get them out of the country. You understand? Okay, so that's the first problem. They've been encircled, right? What's the second problem?
They can't actually go north.
Why not?
Like it's too heavily defended because of all the mountains.
That's right. And why else?
And like it's very hard to move like tanks and equipment through mountains.
Yeah, that's right, okay? So they failed to mass forces, okay? Iran is a population of 90 million people. You will need at least 3 to 4 million soldiers to even think about conquering the country. They've got 100,000 in this country, okay? And as Jack says, you can't move tanks through mountains. They're not designed for mountain warfare. What are you going to do, okay? So they can't mass forces, and they've been encircled, and what else is a problem? And this is the biggest problem. Exactly, they cannot be resupplied, okay? They have no supply lines. For them to be resupplied, airplanes have to drop ammunition, food, into the country. But again, Iran is all mountains. So it's very easy for Iranians to shoot down the airplanes. Does that make sense? When you pass through mountains, you can't see what's on the ground. A random guy with a rocket launcher can just shoot down the helicopter, okay? Which is what the Afghans did against the Soviets in the Afghanistan war. And that's why the Soviets lost the war. A drone can take down any airplanes, okay? So, in other words, these guys are trapped. They think they're soldiers, but they're not. What they really are hostages, okay? Does that make sense? You have too many people in the country, so you can't get them out of the country, but you don't have enough people to actually launch a strike against Tehran. You can't resupply them. And they've been encircled by Iranian forces, all right? Does that make sense? Okay? Okay, now, the logic of having 100,000 US troops in the country is that once in the country, all the resistance to the regime will rise up and strike against Tehran. The Iranian army will mutiny against the country. Okay? That's the hope. Why do we think this won't happen? Why won't the Iranians revolt against their government? Why don't they want to revolt? That's right. Okay, so Iranians hate Americans. Okay? Remember that Iranians remember the Shah. From 1953 until 1979, the Shah-supported Shah was running a brutal police state. So brutal that everyone in Iran revolted against the regime, okay? That's number one. What else would the Iranians not support the Americans? Why? That's the first reason. Iran has a bad history with America. What else? Guys, which country is next door? What happened in Iraq? America destroyed Iraq, right? From 2003 into 2011, America was there destroying the country. America said that it would bring freedom, democracy. It would bring prosperity. It would bring wealth. But instead, it just destroyed the country. American soldiers were running into houses every night, pointing guns at children, destroying homes, and arresting men for no reason, okay? Iranians saw all this on TV. They heard about all this from neighbors, okay? So they know that if America comes, it's to destroy the country, not to bring freedom, democracy, not to bring prosperity, it's to destroy the country. That's why they're going to fight, okay? And then another reason is that Iranians think that they belong to a great civilization. So they value their freedom and independence, okay? Does that make sense? They're not going to submit to a foreign conqueror. So, why else would the Iranians resist? Okay. Also religion, right? The Iranians are religious. They believe that America is Satan, and they have a religious obligation to fight Satan, okay? So for many reasons, there's just no way that Iranian people are going to stand with America. You might have a minority, but most are going to resist, okay?